It is 15:30 hours on February 8th, 2026. Levi Stadium, Santa Clara, California. 70,000 fans packed shoulder to shoulder. 200 million more watching from screens across the globe. The national anthem swells. Every eye tilts upward, waiting for the most iconic flyover in American sports. 4 F-22 Raptors in a diamond formation, their engines shaking every chest in the building. But the sky stays quiet for a beat too long. When the jets finally appear, they are not the angular, alien silhouettes of the Raptor. They are older F-15C Eagles from the California Air National Guard, reliable, powerful, but unmistakably not what was promised. Air Force spokeswoman Major Katie Spencer's answer is clipped. The F-22s were reassigned due to elevated operational tempo in the Central Command Area of Responsibility. Operational tempo, a bureaucratic phrase that tells you everything and nothing. Here is the truth being suppressed inside the Pentagon's most secure channels. At exactly 0200 hours, synchronized almost to the minute with Super Bowl kickoff, as if chosen deliberately to exploit America's moment of collective distraction, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy activated the most sophisticated layered attack architecture it had ever assembled. In 60 seconds, a network of Iranian jamming stations spanning 200 kilometers along the Strait of Hormuz went live simultaneously, flooding the electromagnetic spectrum with noise, spoofed GPS signals, and interference specifically engineered to overwhelm the spy. 6 radar arrays aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln Strike Group. Inside Combat Information Center, the tactical picture, the screen that integrates radar, electronic warfare data, and satellite feeds, went white with static. 300 Shahed, 139 loitering munitions were already airborne, flying at 40 meters above the wave tops, launched from modified shipping containers on cargo dhows and truck-mounted launchers hidden in coastal wadis. 60 minutes before the jamming activated, Iran timed the electronic blindfold to coincide with the moment the swarm was already inside the outer defensive ring. By the time the alarm sounded aboard the Lincoln, the enemy was not approaching. The enemy was already here. The Phalanx CIWS mounts are cycling at 3,000 rounds per minute, but they are shooting at ghosts. The drones execute a pre-programmed swarming algorithm, overlapping figure-8 patterns, random altitude variations, radar cross-sections deliberately similar enough to cascade overload the Aegis fire control system's threat queue. And beneath the drone swarm, the second layer is accelerating. 112 IRGC fast attack craft, matte black, no lights, no active emissions, racing across the surface at 45 knots, using only preloaded waypoints. 0 radio contact, 0 radar guidance. They navigate by the one thing Iran knew America could not suppress, the strobing orange tracer streams of the Phalanx batteries, visible for miles, marking the Lincoln's position as precisely as any GPS beacon. The math is merciless. Each SM-2 missile costs $2.1 million. Each Shahed drone costs $20,000. The strike group has fewer than 300 SAMs total. The swarm numbers 300. Iran engineered this exchange to bankrupt the Aegis system, one cell at a time. The speedboats need only 30 minutes to close within 10 nautical miles. The rear admiral triggers Blue Shield, Super Hornets, and F-35CS launch in rapid succession. For 8 minutes, they hold the line. Fleur pods hunting heat signatures, sidewinders detonating in orange bursts, Vulcan cannons shredding speedboat hulls. Then the F-35 pilots push beyond visual range, and Iran springs the third trap. The moment American aircraft switch to active radar, Iran's electronic warfare system shifts to a rapid frequency hopping protocol, built on algorithms derived from captured Ukrainian jamming kits, scaled beyond anything Western intelligence assessed Iran capable of. AMRAAMs launch clean, then go blind. They detonate harmlessly in empty sky. Simultaneously, VHF early warning radars activate from buried positions in the Zagros Mountains, operating at meter wavelengths that interact with the F-35's geometry in ways shortwave radar cannot. The F-35 is not invisible to these systems. It appears as a dim but trackable blur, enough for an intercept solution. Iran's Bavar 373 batteries launch 12 Shahed for B missiles, Mach 6, terminal maneuverability that no flare can reliably defeat. The F-35 squadrons execute emergency dives to sea level. The sky above the Abraham Lincoln empties in 60 seconds. The IRGC has achieved air superiority over a U.S. carrier strike group at 60,000 feet, where the sky above is the deep indigo of near space, and the Earth's curvature is a visible fact, for aircraft are running silent. The F-22 Raptors from the 27th Fighter Squadron, Al Udeid Air Base, Qatar, airborne for 2 hours and 40 minutes, refueled twice, maintaining strict emissions control throughout. No radar, no data link transmissions, no active IFF. To every sensor in the region, they do not exist. The F-22's ALR-94 passive detection system does not transmit. It only listens, collecting radar emissions, electronic signatures from every system in the battle area, running them through onboard processing that geolocates an emitter to within meters. By the time the squadron leader is in position, his tactical picture is more complete than anything the blinded ships below can see. He has identified every active Iranian radar, every speedboat command relay, every SAM battery, and the 3 sites in the Zagros about to make things significantly worse. What the IRGC cannot know, because they have never seen this system in combat, is that the F-22's multifunction advanced data link can transmit targeting data in a compressed burst effectively invisible to standard electronic intelligence collection. 40 milliseconds. The burst transmits simultaneously to F-15E Strike Eagles loitering at the edge of the engagement zone, loaded with APKWS laser-guided 70mm rockets, and to the escort destroyers' fire control systems. From the Iranian speedboat's perspective, nothing changes. The sea looks the same. Then the water around them starts exploding. The F-15ES ripple-fire APKWS rockets onto coordinates beamed from the F-22s, directly overhead. The laser designation comes from the Raptor's own IRSD sensors, never transmitting, never announcing themselves. They simply watch, illuminate, and feed data. 80 nautical miles away, the Strike Eagles fire into solutions they cannot themselves see. The effect is systematic annihilation. Speedboat after speedboat vanishes in sharp white flashes. The PK-3 crews have no idea what is happening. They see no aircraft. They hear no engines. They receive no warning. They are dying to something invisible, directed by a ghost at 60,000 feet that their radar cannot find. Simultaneously, the geolocated VHF radar sites in the Zagros appear on the destroyer's targeting systems. Tomahawks launch from the USS Bainbridge, navigating through mountain valleys, approaching from angles terrain masking makes impossible to counter. The mountain radar arrays go dark, one by one. Then the 3 silo covers in the deepest part of the Zagros begin to slide open. Tehran is reaching for the F-22. The launch signatures appear as enormous thermal events, rocket motors visible from 300 miles. The E-3 Sentry's intercom voice is tight but controlled. Vampire, hypersonic ballistic, multiple inbound. Assess 3 rounds total. Time of flight to CSG, 12, 4 minutes and counting. Iran's F-22 is a genuine hypersonic glide weapon, a maneuvering vehicle that skips along the upper atmosphere at speeds the THAAD system was never designed to intercept at this range. The Aegis intercept solutions are already running. They are already inadequate. The F-22 squadron leader has been tracking the launch from the moment the silo doors moved. He understands the calculus instantly. A hypersonic glide vehicle is nearly impossible to intercept in its terminal phase, but in its boost phase, the first 60 to 90 seconds, while the rocket motor is still burning, while the vehicle is still climbing subsonic, heavy with propellant, it is, by comparison, a large, slow, very hot target. The window is closing. Raptor flight commit. All aircraft, max power, 0 angle of attack. 4 F-22s simultaneously roll inverted and pull through. Full afterburner. From 60,000 feet, the dive is essentially straight down. Airframes heating from friction. GS compressing pilots into their seats as airspeed builds through Mach 1.5. Mach 1.8, Mach 2.2. IRSD locks onto the 3 rocket plumes at 110 kilometers. Raptor 1, Fox 3, salvo of 6. 6 a.m. 120D AMRAAMs leave the weapons bays in under 2 seconds, already traveling at Mach 2.2, their own motors accelerating them beyond Mach 4. They are not chasing the FATA 2 at terminal speed. They are meeting it on the way up, during boost, where the rocket plume is a beacon that cannot be hidden. On the E-3's radar screen, 6 AMRAAM tracks converge. 2 seconds of silence. 2 of the 3 FATA 2 launch vehicles cease to exist. The detonation's catastrophic. Fireballs visible for 50 miles. The shockwave from the first destabilizes the third vehicle, which yaws uncontrollably, loses aerodynamic stability, and corkscrews into the desert floor well short of the sea. 3 hypersonic weapons eliminated. Iran's most advanced strategic weapons system destroyed above its own territory by aircraft that Iranian radar still shows no track for. The ceasefire, never official, never acknowledged, propagates outward from the Iranian command network within 4 minutes of the hypersonic intercepts. Surviving speedboats reverse course and run for port. Iranian coastal radars shut down in sequence. The sea goes quiet. The F-22 quartet, fuel state critical, find awaiting KC-46 tankers and plug in without ceremony. No radio calls worth recording. No gun camera footage released. No official statement beyond standard Central Command boilerplate. 40 nautical miles away, the Super Bowl enters halftime. The crowd does not know that 12,000 sailors came within 6 minutes of catastrophe. They do not know that the F-15 Eagles flying overhead were a substitution made necessary because 4 Raptors were doing something the Pentagon cannot describe in public. They may not know for decades, perhaps never. The phalanx mounts are empty. The VLS cells are low. The F-35 squadrons burned through every long-range missile in under 10 minutes. The carrier is intact. The flag is flying. The F-22 did not save the fleet with firepower alone. It saved the fleet by being everywhere at once. Eyes that saw through the jamming. A brain that converted chaos into targeting solutions. An invisible hand that placed weapons onto coordinates the aircraft carrying them could not themselves see. In an era of electronic warfare, the most valuable military asset is not the weapon that shoots farthest or hits hardest. It is the platform that can see clearly when everyone else is blind. But here is the question no classified file answers. The one that keeps analysts awake in offices whose existence is itself classified. Iran learned something tonight too. Their engineers will study what happened to those FATA 2 missiles. Their electronic warfare teams will analyze the engagement signatures and notice, eventually, the 40-millisecond data link burst that directed the carnage. They will adapt. They will iterate. And next time, they may not reach for a conventional hypersonic weapon. If Tehran decides to put a different kind of warhead on top of the next FATA 2 for F-22s, and their extraordinary sensor fusion will not be enough. The boost phase intercept window will still exist, but the consequences of a miss will be of a different order entirely. The B-21 Raider is operational. Its capabilities remain almost entirely black, and it is possible. The analysts who think about these things will not say probable, but they will say possible. That what played out tonight over the Arabian Sea was also a rehearsal, a proof of concept for a different engagement, a different night, a different weapon in the silo. The Pentagon is certainly preparing for that scenario. Whether the preparation is sufficient is the question no one in a public forum is authorized to answer. If this tactical breakdown changed how you understand modern air warfare, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. The next classified file covers the B-21 Raider's first operational deployment. Trust me, you will not want to miss it.